Hey, what's going on? This is Justin here, back with another commentary video. This time I'm going to be talking over a time lapse of inking the third page from the latest comic I put out called JUJU and the Space. This was a 5-page comic I released on my Patreon at the end of August, and it was a tribute to the King of Comics, Jack Kirby, in that it used a lot of the Kirby crackle, a lot of heavy ink, and very neon and cosmic colors. So the origin story for this comic came from taking my niece to a miniature golf place, and it was all blacklit, and it was called Space Golf. And it was the first time she went mini golfing, and she was very taken aback by the really tacky decorations, because they pretty much took every sci-fi film, movie, book, and made it into a prop, and it was not cohesive. So like there was an AT-ST from Star Wars, and it was like standing next to a giant neon Godzilla, and there would be like alien autopsy stuff, which was kind of gross. There'd be like little things in jars. The entire layout was all over the place, and it kind of had this sideshow attraction charm to it. So she was very like in love with everything, and of course, you know, it being neon and blacklit, that's sort of when the idea started to crack in my head. And the title, I think, was what I came up with first, JUJU and the Hole in Space, and it had this real 1950s sci-fi movie vibe. And I just kind of went from there, and then spent most of most of the spring working on it. The ship there looks like a putter. That was sort of the intention. And then the gun that she's holding is called a tee shot, which I believe is a golf term. So I tried to work in things from the real world into the project. And that little ball there that she's holding is called a filler missile, which essentially is going to, plug the little black hole. And then it was like the first time she got a hole-in-one. I said it was a hole-in-one, even though she tried like 50 times. One of the great advantages of working digitally is that I get to layer everything. So see, I have the ship and what's going on inside the ship by way of these circles connecting to the ship. They almost act as like speech bubbles in itself. But I put that on one layer, and then I put the space background on another layer, and it really got to showcase everything that I wanted to do with paying tribute to Jack Kirby. So putting in those swirling vortexes and the Kirby crackle and those black eclipse and sort of the rays coming out of that stuff was really fun. And having to plot it out digitally is so much efficient, because I could just put everything on a layer and then sort of erase what I don't need. And I looked at a lot of Kirby for reference. I believe he did a story called The Black Hole, which I used for color, like a color palette, and just sort of designs for inside the ship. And then he also did an adaptation of 2001, which my brother used for reference for the titles. And I looked at some Eternals books, and I just, I wanted to, oh man, look at that, filling in all the black there. So the one thing I did was the color threshold on the black is not up all the way, so you can actually see variations in the black that made it feel like it was inked traditionally, and I really loved leaving that, because part of my OCD was I try to fill it so that it was 100% black, but having these little strokes in there that you could see and sort of variations of the black made it feel like it was inked traditionally, and I thought it just brought more to the page as I continue to fill it up, add texture. The one thing that I took away from doing this was just add more black, more texture, more line, because it seemed to be what Kirby was all about. Yet it came off simplistic, but when you looked at the page, there was a lot going on. So I wanted to try and mimic that, and I thought I did a good job. This was probably my favorite page to ink and color, and it's one of I think one of the best pages in the comic. So I hope you enjoyed taking a look at this time lapse and enjoyed this quick commentary.